of the leader that means the most to you and that have really influenced you in your life. It may take you a couple of seconds, couple of minutes maybe to think of this person. Okay, now open your eyes. When you think of a leader, we all think of someone who's got that strong presence, someone who is very inspiring, someone who's got that charisma, someone you feel like you can walk behind them behind a dark alley and you know everything is going to be okay. Then you can go to the next page. I did a quick search on Google and I just put in leader and I looked at the images. And if you can see in the images, I found it was really interesting that a lot of the pictures had the leader, which was the red person, in the front of the line, in the front of the pack, the center of the focus, the person that is leading the way. And this is most likely what you're thinking in your mind when you envision a leader. You're thinking of the person that is leading the pack from the front. And a lot of leaders are that way, and there's nothing wrong with that. Today, I want to make a different proposition and what being a leader really means to me. And this is very different from what we are used to. For me, being a strong leader is someone who is not afraid of being in the back. Someone who is not afraid to lead with humility. Next picture, please. Recently, I did a revamp on my resume. And as a part of the project, I had to reach out to several different people and ask them to evaluate my resume. One of the key lines in the very beginning that I used to describe who I am was, I am a driven leader who is committed to stable values such as humility, honesty, and accountability. The person stopped me right there and said, well, Yumei, I don't know about that. I don't know if you want to start your sentence about you as a leader and humility being the main attribute of that. How do you think that other people are going to feel about that? I've never seen a very strong leader's resume start with, they lead with humility. And I said, well, that's who I am. And if that's not good enough, then maybe I shouldn't be working for this person. And that is okay with me. See, if you look at the quote next to that, humility is not thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less. And there is a big difference between those 2 points. Humility doesn't mean that I am meek. It does not mean that I am weak. It does not mean that I get pushed around. It does not mean that I can't do great things as a leader. However, when you think humility, you immediately think submissive. You think humility, and you think, oh, this person in the back was very quiet, and you guys just do whatever you want to do, and I'm just going to be over here, and you let me know. No, humility means a lot more to me than that. Humility means power, because you know that you can do what you need to do, and you can guide your path wherever it needs to go, and you can do it all from the back because they know your vision, they are bought in on your vision, and you have a common goal, and you know that you can get them all together to go there that way. And if you can do that, it takes a stronger leader than someone who can dictate and say, we're going there, everybody, that way. As opposed to saying, hey, we all know where we're going, guys. How are we going to get there? And we're going to get there together. There's a big difference between those 2 things. And this means a lot to me. Next page, please. As I was doing my research, I found this post. And this post just illustrated what this means to me and why it makes so much sense. This is an animal instinctual organization, a pack of wolves, and this is the way that they operate. And if you can read there, the first 3 are the oldest, the old and the sick. And they give the page to the entire pack so that they aren't left behind. Then come the 5, strongest, the front line. And last is the alpha. From there, he can see everything and control the direction. And this is such a powerful imagery. If you can really think about that, the alpha is in the back, and he holds that responsibility for safety of his pack. And the way that he organized his organization was to put the weakest in the front. But he also has the strongest right there to back him up. Then he's got the rest of his team right there. But at the end of it, the leader is still the one in charge, is still the one that has that weight on their shoulders. If something goes wrong, it is still the leader's responsibility. But that is where he positions himself, not at the beginning. When I think of a humble leader, I think of parenting. As a parent, whether you like it or not, you are the leader of your pack. You and your spouse, your partner, both of you. And I think about this, and when my child or my children do something, and let's say they are rightfully wrong, let's say they ate the cookie from the cookie jar they weren't supposed to, and it happens all the time in my house. And I have an explosive moment, and I kind of go a little bit overbearing and get down on them about that cookie. And I use this tone, and why and how and and I leave it there. Well, I've done my job. Now they know. They know who's boss, and they know that was not right, and I put them back in their place. On the flip side, let's say I had that explosion, and I had a minute to think about it, and I thought, it was just a cookie from the cookie jar. Was that really warranted? And I think about that. I think about my child. I think about who I am as a leader. And it takes a really big parent to have to go back to their children who are very, very young and say these two words: I am sorry. I was wrong. You shouldn't have taken the cookie from the cookie jar. But I also didn't have to explode in this way. And will you forgive me? I don't know about you, and I don't know how you feel about saying sorry, but it is no easy task, especially with your children. But what am I really teaching my child in that moment? What kind of values am I instilling in my children? That as the person in authority, it is okay for you to say, you got this wrong and this is the way it should be, what's wrong with you? Or to say, hey, this was wrong, we should have done this, but I should have done this too. How can we do it better? Let's work together. To me, that is what makes a great leader. Someone who is not afraid to challenge the process, and someone who is not afraid to say I am wrong when you are wrong, and someone who is able to be humble, to go to the back of the line as needed, and put everybody else first. Because when you put others first, it always comes back to you. When you put somebody else first, and you are in an authoritative position, they wonder, oh, okay, why me? What's going on? But eventually, that respect starts to build, and you have a team. Last slide, please. And I want to leave you with this quote. If serving is below you, leadership is beyond you. If serving is below you, leadership is beyond you. Now think about the leader that you want to be.